Good afternoon and welcome to Bull Market Stock Show. This is your host Rian Hobson, and we're doing actually today the story that intensify in KZN. Normally, I do stuff about the market, and normally I just stick to the script. Normally, I write stuff down for me, and then I know actually what to talk about in the actually economic front. But now we have the situation in KZN, which is actually really getting tense. It's not actually that it's really getting tense. It's really getting out of order and out of totally law doesn't apply that side. And it even escalated to Johannesburg a few days ago. And the story getting so intense that it's now getting to a racial story as well. And is this continued? The problem is getting so severe that you have now that people need to stand in lines to fill up their cars. People can't find bread, which I actually confirmed on Twitter and also with other friends on that side, where the economic impact is getting now severe. I'm not saying that people are wrong, that the looting is going on. Yes, obviously it's wrong. But the problem is that the government, it was doing this totally wrong. And this is not just something that starts now. People were left alone burning trucks and all of those things for years now and decades. Even now as well. The story of the apartheid, where it goes on, and now in the democratic is going on, is just continuing. We definitely can't go on with this. In my book, In the Ultimate Depression, and when people were saying that I'm talking nonsense, where I said I don't have a house, a car, and anything. But people in South Africa to be blind struck by this thing, that it will not happen. This is actually it, and I think this is just the start of it. Because if I could say this years ago, to say that we will get to this point where we need to prepare to get actually out, or we need to run, this is where it starts. And it will definitely not get simpler. Because it's not that the government is sending the right message out to people. It's always about the rich and the poor. It's always about the black and white. It's always wrong information that's pushed out. No good values was ever sent out in the last, I can say, in the last 100 years. A good message was sent out in South Africa that we need to build this country better and all of those things, and we can't look at racial lines. Or who's rich or who's poor. Can't we just work together, go to work, do what you can, start your own business and go forward? No. It's always a tension between the have-nots and the nots. And it's just escalating further and further and further. There was never a good message in South Africa of, for example, where family ethics is actually being questioned about the fathers in the house and the mothers of the house and those. No, never. It just go on about inequality and all of those things. Yes, that is a problem. But if you send this message out every single time about rich and the poor, and you yourself who's sending this message out is doing absolutely nothing to help the rich and the poor or help the poor, then you are just actually literally capitalizing on this nonsense that you're actually polarizing the society with. And this is actually where it gets to that point where the people were literally looting left, right, and center. Because honestly, what the government did for, I can't even say for the last 25 years, I can say literally stretching back for centuries, is just that the poor is just sitting one way or another. You just have to, like, that's why I came up with a topic, but let them eat the cake. Because this was the famous words of Marie Antoinette in the French Revolution, that then her head get chopped off. Because they literally, in this pandemic, and I think that is where the switches went off. Because there already in the beginning, I said, if this continues, you will get a revolt. Because You can't give people 350 and you chout billions of rands every single year and you expect nothing to happen. As what the president always say, South Africa has a reservoir of patience. The words that he always use. No, that is not the case. And I'm not saying the looters is right or they can justify their case why they have to loot. But the examples, the leaders of this country set terrible examples, not just for the last 25 years, but for the last centuries that is being happening in South Africa. And now it's getting so bad that people need to protect their own properties now. And now it looks like racism. What choices that people have? Their families are afraid of what is going on. They need to protect their properties. And the people that are poor, they want their food. So now you don't even know now who the hell is right or wrong. This is definitely getting out of hand. And what literally made this even more terrible is that the unemployment rate, obviously, that is now obviously the ticking point for everything, because there's more people unemployed than people that are actually employed. Now, there's all these devils that are there in the society, and it just needs to go off. And that's exactly what is happening now. It's just that perfect trigger point where everything can explode. And the thing is, Durban or the KZN is a very large province, and I'm not sure if it will happen, but there's already now fuel shortages. Obviously, there will be food shortages because the stores are closed. What other shortages will come in, and where will that escalate to? This is really, really getting terrible. And honestly speaking, and we need to be serious about this. Will this thing ever change? Will it change? We need to be serious about, will it change? Honestly speaking, I doubt it will. Not with the current leadership that we're having. It is not possible. Only thing that these guys are going on is fighting, sending a message out between racism. That's it. That's it. Inequality, gender inequality, whatever nonsense they can think of to stir up hate, and that is exactly the result that we are getting. And what makes this so sad is that the small business owners are actually suffering the most. There was a guy with a farm that was actually having chickens and having pigs. He was a pig farm, a small farmer, black-owned farmer. They were just totally destroyed. And it's always the one, and when I talk about minorities, I'm not talking about just Indians and whites. I'm talking about, it's always that small percentage in all groups, whether it's colored, blacks, and all of that are going to start, that are actually waking up, starting their business, do the grinding. They are the ones that get targeted. And that makes it so hurtful. They are the ones who are actually getting targeted every single time when shit blows up in this country. The guy that just goes to work, the guy that starts his business, the guy that starts his footwear store, the guy that cuts hair, the lady that do her salons and all of those things. Those are the ones who's getting hurt. And all that these politicians do for years and years, over and over and over again, is playing the game between the rich and the poor. That's it. They don't care if your business is small. They're going after your business because they just think that your life is better because you have a bloody business. Do you know how bloody tough it is to actually to wake up, to go open that business, even when there's no clients, but you are there? And then people just have the nerve and pressing things in your face to say that you are actually much better off. It is not. You just try to make a living for yourself and your family, but you are the one who's first in the firing line. And this shit is just never ever stop. You can go back to where they slaughtered the Jews, the Indians, even the Africans in history. You can go there. It's always the one that wants to start his business, who wants to get out of poverty. He's the one who get fucked every single time. Every fucking single time. And then and those are the ones who are normally quiet. They are the one, and I'm not talking about white, and I'm not talking about Indian. I'm talking about all people, all colors that wants to start a business, that goes out and who do the work actually. They are the ones who normally get targeted, always get targeted. And they are the ones who are normally quiet. And you can hear the words on Twitter, social media, wherever. It's about clever blacks and all of those things. And even when it gets to white people as well. Now that small businesses are totally destroyed. Where the hell will those black people start their businesses now? Where will it? Obviously, government will not give them funding. When the hell will this nonsense ever stop? You can go back to the Asian history. It always repeats itself. Always it does it. It can't go on like this. You believe me, you can't even drive a fancy car. Oh, you are the next target. When is people gonna mind their own fucking business? But as long as politicians can exploit the situation of the have-nots and the have and the have-nots, that we will always be in the firing line. And these are literally people that get screwed literally every day by government. And it's easy for them to switch on. It's easy for them to switch it on. And then we get into the firing line. I'm feeling very sorry for those small businesses. And most of the small businesses, if you hear on social media, it's black-owned businesses that are getting destroyed. Indians, whites, everybody with their small businesses are getting, those are the people who employ people. And this is all politicians who use that have-nots and have-nots story. They are the ones who's fueling this now for years and years and years and years, and boom, they explode. One trigger, there it goes. They are beating up this economy every single time. And while people that literally employ people need to grind and grind and every time grind, and then they just fuck it up every time. It's really making me fucking sick to my stomach to see how these things are happening every time. And you know what? These small business owners will never complain. They will not talk. But now that they want to defend their own properties, now that is a fucking problem. They don't want to kill people. They don't want to hurt people. But what the hell do they need to do now? Because obviously the police are overstretched. They can't do their work. And now obviously they want to take the guns as well. Jesus Christ. It is really getting out of hand. And I'm just afraid that this can spread. I'm maybe safe where I am now. But if this thing spreads, and which is always a story with South Africa, it spreads because things will get tougher and tougher as this year progresses. Oil prices will definitely increase. Inflation will definitely increase. And things will get ugly. And when it turns ugly, people can see now that the police can't do their job. And they will feel that they can take their chances. And when that happens, I don't think an army can stop. If the police can't do the job, it's no use that the army can come. Then it's every man for himself. I don't know when will politicians ever listen to stop fueling racism, stop fueling this nonsense of inequality. We all know it is a problem. But is this small business owners, these people who's doing the work, who literally go out to curb this unemployment for you, but you don't fix it? People outside, the normal citizens who's getting hurt now, they are the ones who's trying to cure this unemployment, this fucking inequality. But they are the ones who is the target. Always, always the bloody target. I'm really feeling sorry for those people. And I doubt it will ever change. Not here in South Africa, unless we have a strong leadership that can change the story. That's why I never ever feel comfortable to buy a house in this country. Never. Because when I was in Joburg, I saw this nonsense coming. And I said, I need to live here. There it is. We wanted to go to Durban. Didn't feel comfortable there. That's why I just can't settle in this country, my own country, where I can't buy a house because I don't feel comfortable. I actually feel terrible for people who bought houses. Because now you're stuck with your property. People that feel comfortable to settle in this country. But you can't in your own bloody country, you can't. A house is not about investments in all of this nonsense. A house is for you to actually to stay there with your family and to share memories. That is for me, the main value of the house. I'm not saying it is for you. But that is what a house is there for. But you can't. Because look what is happening now. People are even targeting your house. Just because you have a bit more and you work harder. Well, that is my 2 cents for today. And I hope that things will get better in this country. But before we will do that, we need to kick these guys out that is in charge of this country. All the best for the people in Durban and all the best for all South Africans. I really hope that change will come soon. Bye-bye.